This movie's about a nutcracker, one that is demonically possessed, and it goes around killing a family just to get to a girl named Clara, yes, like in the play. But this movie doesn't have a sleigh, just some sleighings involving an ice skate and candy canes up the nose. But it isn't fun at all. It's about relationships and some balls being cut off by a nutcracker. The only semi-funny scene. Nutcracker Massacre is available on Tubi or not Tubi and is the latest schlock when it comes to Christmas-themed horror movies, right in the vein of The Killing Tree or Demonic Christmas Tree or whatever. My goodness, this movie called Nutcracker Massacre is about, wait for it, sit down, just sit down, grab some eggnog. It's about a demonically possessed nutcracker. We find out why. It's a really stupid reason. And for a movie called Nutcracker Massacre, there's maybe like 10%, maybe 15% of the movie devoted to the nutcracker actually doing anything. The rest of it involves people saying really stilted dialogue and relationship. There are two relationships in this movie. Like, as far as romantic relationships, there's also an aunt taking care of her niece better than her own daughter because her niece actually appreciates what the aunt has done. But seriously, so much of this movie is just talking and just endless talking. And then there's this guy, Dimitri, that's this nutcracker maker. And gee, wonder who was responsible for all the shit. I'm just going to spoil a lot, even though I'm going to save like a section for the spoilers. Spoiling a movie like Nutcracker Massacre almost feels like, oh, I don't know, a mercy killing at this point, because this movie should have been a blast. Just lean into it. The Killing Tree or Demonic Christmas Tree wasn't nearly as fun as it should have been, but that seemed like highbrow comedy compared to this. It was directed, like it matters who the fuck it was directed and written by, Rebecca Matthews, who's done a bunch of schlock, but you know what? If she's staying busy, that's great. Joe Netter, who wrote the movie, and then there was a guy who did the story. So let me get this straight. A screenplay for a movie called Nutcracker Massacre needed a guy to write the story? Did one guy just give up and just go on break and they said, shit, oh, the way Jeff Miller plays, get in there and write the story. That's pretty much the only way I can describe this movie, actually. Needing two separate people to write anything for it. Beatrice Fletcher plays Clara. And I'm going to say right now, as far as this movie looked, I'm sure they had fun making it. At least I hope they had fun making it. It's called Nutcracker Massacre, so I couldn't have expected anything highbrow or lowbrow or even anything with brows. I think they just decided to shave the brows off and just go like that and then draw them on, but really, really badly and drunkenly. And I cannot believe that this movie was aggressively boring despite being called Nutcracker Massacre. Julie Stevens plays Marie, Aunt Marie, not Marie Callender's, and Paul was played by Andy Dixon. And Mousie, who's the niece, no, the step... She's Marie's daughter and whatever, you know, so there we go. We got that kind of stuff going. She, played by May Kelly, she was in The Killing Tree. She was the redhead. I think she was a redhead in the movie. I don't know, because she was lower down the cast, so I think she was one of the people that was killed. A novelist goes to visit her family and then finds out that they have a 6-foot-tall nutcracker that shouldn't be there and is demonically possessed. Why? Because movie. Because literally movie. Actually, it's because of a certain plot twist a little bit later. I guess twist would be the best way to describe it. But yeah, we get a delivery guy that delivers a package, and then he's trying to spy in on this girl. This nutcracker, the 6-foot-tall nutcracker, jams an ice pick in him. And then we smash cut to 2 days earlier when we find out that Clara's a novelist and her boyfriend cheated on her with one of her friends that's not her friend anymore by the time we get a little bit later into the movie, and decides to go visit her aunt because her aunt talks to her and says, come on over. Okay, I'll come on over. Was the budget for this like 50 euros? Seriously, like the microphones I think were found in the 1970s and then stored in a cereal box at the bottom of a well. And even Samara said, nah, I don't want these, send them back up. And there you go. Like, some of these microphones were terrible, like absolutely terrible. I don't understand at all what they were trying to do. There's an old man named Danford, which I swear is the name of a football team over there. Actually, no, Rashford? Is it Rashford? I don't know. I've seen a lot of World Cup talk. Nevertheless, he was old enough to remember when the Queen was first born. The very first Queen of England, by the way. Not even Queen Elizabeth II, but nevertheless. Okay, so there's this guy, Dimitri, this toy maker. He makes stuff, and he tells them history about this Nutcracker when this Nutcracker starts killing indiscriminately and tells them a story. The story, you know what? Here, spoilers if you don't want to know anything about it. But the spoilers are, this guy, this Nutcracker is possessed by a German or a soldier that got obsessed with Nutcracker play, killed one woman, made another woman eat this jewel from hell to become like him, where he ate a jewel from hell, and it actually made him all crazy and insane because he was so invested in the play that he decided, I'm going to just kill the Mouse King. I'm going to do this because why not? There's a tuberculosis pandemic and everybody's all sick, and he was insane, and he decides to do that. And the girl Clara was also from the play, so he's been targeting her, but he's also targeting Marie. Why? Marie is a descendant of, the girl, the sisters, one that got, well, actually both got killed, but one got shot by a German cop or something, or a mailman possibly, with the way everybody was dressed. And this German soldier is the one possessed, and he decides to go killing. Just killing. The only funny scenes in this goddamn movie are, by the way, there's a sugar plum fairy that gives off this light and possesses the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker, by the way, that apparently was just standing there innocently and then got possessed and decided to go kill people. They showed the entire scene, almost the entire opening scene, 20 minutes later with the delivery driver getting stabbed. And then the Nutcracker does... He just stretches his face out. Stretches his face out. Stretches his face out like crazy. This movie has so much relationship talk, I was half expecting it to become a Lifetime movie. I was half expecting that we would have to call and do $1.49 a minute to get more relationship advice, or somebody was going to say they weren't the father, and good God, this movie was shit. How can you make a movie called Nutcracker Massacre and not lean into the fact it's about a killer goddamn Nutcracker? I don't goddamn get it. They have this part where Clara takes some pills to help her sleep. That doesn't really factor in anything except her dreaming about seeing this giant Nutcracker there. And then they talk to this guy, Dimitri, and he tells this whole story, the thing I just said before, and there you go. There, all this stuff about this possessed guy and this nut that ended up killing people. Why did he kill people? Because he was insane. That's it. He was so obsessed with the play, and now, because it's his deal, now they need to figure out a way to stop him. So... found jewels sitting on the ground and said, yeah, these look good enough to eat. I mean, look, I know that the Nutcracker play could be a horror movie, but you could do a little bit better than this. I mean, the way they told this story was so haphazard. And then the Nutcracker just starts teleporting around the house. First, he killed the old guy, Dashford or Danford or whatever the hell his name is, with candy canes up his goddamn nose in a basement that looked like it was an old bunker from a fallout shelter in the 1700s, which, given some British architecture, is probably the case. And then Marie gets captured, and Paul takes about 18 million shots to the head, but somehow stays around. Clara says, I have an idea, let's get this stuff together, after... her sister, or, well, her half-sister, whatever, Mousy, gets killed by Garland, not Judy Garland, but gets strangled in the closet. The Nutcracker then has Marie, and she seems to be accepting of her fate, but just let my family go, but take me. He already has you. He can't take you anymore unless he kills you. And then Clara shoots him. And Paul's dressed up like the Mouse King, as he got head wounds. And she's got the crown on, like, the heroine of the movie. And she shoots him, and then it's like, oh, he's dead. It's okay. And then the Nutcracker very slowly takes over and kills, and starts to try to kill her. This is after, by the way, the only funny scene in the movie, where he had taken a Nutcracker and cut off a guy's nuts. But it wasn't even funny, so I don't know why they even bothered to do that. They're like, oh, this will be hilarious. They didn't lean tongue-in-cheek, which probably wasn't the best term to use right there. But she shoots him, she gets trapped by him, and then suddenly The Sugar Plum Fairy, hey, let's knock this over. Oh, there's a jewel in there. Let's smash that. Okay, we smash that. But then he's like, he like falls down, and the jewel ends up in his hand, the jewel that he swallowed. And then they smash that with a star, the star that activated him earlier. And then that's it. He's dead. His spirit floats out in Dimitri. It turns out it's putting the jewels in all the Nutcrackers, which I think everybody knew was going to happen. I mean, seriously, my God, my God, this movie, my God, help, help, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. Sadly, this may not even crack my worst movies of the year, because how could I expect Nutcracker Massacre to be good? It was just boring, and that's probably the biggest indictment of it. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said? Like, share, subscribe. It gets an F, by the way. It gets an F, just in case you didn't tell. It doesn't even get a D for entertainment. It wasn't even entertaining. They managed to make a guy getting his nuts cut off by a nutcracker boring. They have barely any massacre for a movie called Nutcracker Massacre. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.